Another big thing about hifz, what people don't realize, is that your teacher-student connection. So like you won't just learn Quran, you learn how to like navigate life. You can say you're hafiz, but like if you can't perform in Taraweeh or during Ramadan, what's the point calling yourself hafiz? I'm just gonna be straight. I mean, it might be controversial to say, but it's hard to say. Like, you know, like I don't do that because of my religion. It feels awkward. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like nobody sells thobes over here? And I was like, yo, this is like a really untapped market, you know? The Muslim community really, I'm gonna be honest with you, doesn't really support other Muslim small businesses.
Do you find a common pattern of traits that women don't have today?
Yes.
Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. I said that right? Alhamdulillah. Welcome to the first episode of Project Andulus podcast. I'm Zishan, your host, and I'm seated with the amazing, the glorious, the fantastic Farhaan Pathan.
Jazakallah khair, bro. Appreciate it.
Wayakum. He's been a dear friend of mine for 2 years now, I'd say. Yeah. Funny story, I followed him on LinkedIn because I'm like, that's the guy that leads at our masjid. And then I didn't know him. And then I think after prayer, he came up to me. He's like, did you follow me on LinkedIn today?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of a fan. No, I didn't say that, but I was a fan. That fan relationship turned into a friend relationship. Alhamdulillah, I'm glad to have gotten there. So yeah, I called him Hafiz Farhaan for a long time before I knew his alter ego.
Well, alter ego.
Which, if he takes off the thope and he takes off the kufi, it's like Superman. Like that's the joke.
Exactly.
Like we don't even recognize him. So yeah, that's my impression. That's my image of you. When I think of Farhaan, that's what comes to my mind. If there's anything quick summary of who you are and what you'd like to tell people about.
Yeah, no. First off, Jazakallah khair for having me on this podcast. I appreciate. I am your first person to be on this podcast as well too. It's a real one. Shout out Zisha. Yeah. But yeah, alhamdulillah. I mean, he said it. My name's Farhaan Pathan. I'm a fake Afghani. I know.
Not Pathan, yes.
I know Pathan's more of supposed to be like a Afghani name or like Pashtun name, right? But then when I say I'm Indian, people are like, oh, okay, he's not the one, basically. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm Hafiz, alhamdulillah. I finished at the Institute of Knowledge, which is based in Diamond Bar. I started relatively late for my hifz, I would say. I started at the age of 17 and I finished at 20. In parallel with that, I did community college as well too. Actually, I forgot to mention, but before that, I graduated high school early as well too. So I graduated after sophomore year, taking the CHESP exam, which is like an exit exam for California that you can get out of high school at like the sophomore year. So I graduated, and then I moved to OC from Ventura, and that's where I started my hifz journey. I finished community college. I moved to Cal State Fullerton for major in communications with an emphasis in public relations and marketing. And then after graduating, my parents moved to San Diego, and I led Taraweeh at MCC that same year that I moved. And that's actually where I met my good friend Zishan as well too. It was funny actually, because like when I saw him after the Salah, I was like, weren't you the guy who followed me on LinkedIn? And then he's like, yeah, I'm that guy. So I was like, yeah. But I mean, that's a short summary about me. I mean, I've been in San Diego now since 2023. I moved to the Bay Area beginning of 2024, and moved back at the end of 2024 for a job. Alhamdulillah, I got another job and it's completely remote. So now I'm just based in San Diego for this past year.
Alhamdulillah, yeah. I remember when you moved up, and that was super sad. But then you moved back down, which was like right before Ramadan, but you didn't get a spot at MCC, which we're at right now. We're at MCC.
Yeah.
So I still drove up to, that was Tri-City Masjid, amazing masjid, by the way. Alhamdulillah, it was a beautiful community. But you're going to be leading this Ramadan, right?
Inshallah, I'll be leading. I'm not sure exactly where I'll be leading. I may be leading a Tri-City just because I enjoyed it a lot again.
That is true.
Alhamdulillah, like I got a better position. I wouldn't say better position, but I got to be more of a lead over there. And I just enjoyed the experience over there. So it depends. I mean, Ramadan's still like 3-4 months away. I mean, from this recording at least.
Who knows when this is going to get uploaded.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Ramadan's 3-4 months away. I'm starting to get slowly into the mojo of it, starting to practice a little bit more, getting into that Tarawih vibe. That Tarawih flow is what people call it now as well too. But yeah, like I said, I definitely have plans of leading, inshallah, this Ramadan. Where? Not exactly, I don't know yet, but yeah, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, inshallah. So I guess like circle back to, I really want to know more about your journey of like why you decided to become a Hafiz and how that journey has taken you and kind of where you're at right now with, you know, the conception of being a Hafiz and how that impacts your present and your future throughout the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, great question. I guess it really started when I started my freshman year. Alhamdulillah, I was in good company. I think that's what really set the bar for me trying to become a Hafid or trying to become somewhat in that deen realm. So I had one family. I was really good friends with the Imam's family at the masjid that we were at. It was called ICCV, Islamic Center of Conejo Valley. It was when I was living in 1,000 Oaks. His sons, the Imam's sons, would go to England for their hifz in a madrasa over there. And I was in contact with them a lot, and I got really inspired by them because they would come back during Ramadan, lead Tarawih, and be like, yo, these guys are it, man. Like, I want to be them. So I started asking around, like, what's the best way to go about it? People are like, oh, you can go outside the country and study hifz. You can also become an alim, become an imam and stuff. But my parents were pretty kind of iffy on me going outside of the country. Nevertheless, I mean, 2016 came around, and I tried to apply for the madrasa that my friends were going to in England. But actually, subhanAllah, like, the visas for that specific school got shut down that year. So I didn't end up going. And then I met one of my dad's friends who recommended this place called IOK, and the Institute of Knowledge, which was based in Diamond Bar, which is more in Orange County, borderline LA. Yeah, so basically I got inspired by my friends, my close friends, to start doing hifz, and I was looking for different ways or different places where I can do a hifz. And obviously IOK came up, and it was likable by my parents because it was still in the state, it wasn't that far. So that's from there, I took that CHESP exam, the California exit exam, after I ended my sophomore year. Crazy fact is that I didn't know about the test until a month before the test was taking.
Oh my God.
So, and it's crazy because people will be studying like 7-8 months for this test because it's basically a whole wrap of high school, like the basics of high school. Alhamdulillah, I passed it, but with 1 month of studying was a bit crazy pressure.
Yeah.
Following that, like, I passed the result, and we were like, okay, let's move from Thousand Oaks. My entire family, alhamdulillah, bless my parents as well too. They made lots of sacrifices so that I can be a hafid and I can actually study deen. So we moved from Thousand Oaks to Orange County that same year, so end of sophomore year. And that's where I really started my hifz journey. I would say I grinded out 3.5 years, alhamdulillah, which is more faster than the average of what IOK students usually finish their hifz at. Usually people take around 6 to 7 years. Alhamdulillah, since I was really focused and really dedicated, I finished it in 3.5 years. Alhamdulillah, that was a great time. Shout out to my teachers as well too, Sheikh Umar, Sheikh Abdul Wahab, Sheikh Imran, and the founder of IOK as well, Sheikh Noman. They all supported me on my journey and I can't thank them enough for it. I guess following hifz, I did 1 year of Alimiyya as well too. So their Alim program, I did that in parallel with my last year of university. But going back to the main question of that, what am I doing with it now? So I guess prior to graduating my hifz, meaning finishing the memorization, getting the certification that I've completed it and through IOK, I did 1 year of what they call Dor. Dor is like a review, where I would do about five ajza a day. So we'd have about a khatam every week. So that really set the foundation of my Quran, making it strong. Alhamdulillah, now today I don't do 5 juz because I just don't have time in the day because I work a full-time job. But I review 1 juz at least 1 day, 1 juz a day, to make sure that my hifz is still there. And like I was mentioning earlier, Ramadan is what really keeps your Quran in check. So because when the month comes up, your anxiety comes up. You're like, oh my God, do I still remember my Quran from the last Ramadan? But alhamdulillah, for the past, I think going on to 5 years this year, I'll be leading Taraweeh full time. Alhamdulillah, I can't complain. I think that going into the future, I think for my hifz at least, I want to continue. Oh, that's I forgot to mention. I also teach Quran as well at Masjid Hamza. I also teach at this masjid. I used to teach at this masjid. So that's also how I maintain my Quran. But yeah, going forth into the future, I inshallah plan to keep the Quran in my heart, plan to continue leading Taraweeh until I'm not able to lead anymore. And inshallah keeping the Quran close and dear to me and trying to adhere by what the rules are inside of it. And later on, obviously when I start a family, inshallah, inspire my own kids to start doing hifz as well too.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So because of that inspiration, given that you said that you would teach your kids, then you would say like you would encourage, you would encourage your kids to do it. So there's nothing about it that you would say has been, I guess, a burden or a negative thing.
No, if anything, I felt like I've learned a lot. So a lot of people might think that hifz is just learning, right? And just doing your rotations, memorizing, and then making sure you keep that memory. But another big thing about hifz, what people don't realize, is that your teacher-student connection. So like you won't just learn Quran, you learn how to like navigate life. You learn in an Islamic perspective, obviously, right? So for example, like our teacher, what he would do on every Friday is that like 30 minutes before Jumu'ah Salah, usually we'd have class from Monday to Saturday. And Friday we'd get like a half day because obviously Jumu'ah. So my teacher would stop the class 30 minutes before like we're ending, obviously. And he would just give us a lecture, like he'd come and sit down with us, like, what's going on with your life? Like, how can I help you? And it could go through like even the basics of istinja, or like how to like clean yourself after the bathroom, all the way to like, for example, marriage. Like, how are you supposed to seek a spouse? Like, what are you supposed to look for them in that? Like, we've covered everything. And the best part about having a teacher is that you can go and ask that teacher any questions. You can feel safe with that teacher. Alhamdulillah, that was my connection with my teachers as well too. And they were alims as well too, that they graduated from Pakistan and different madrasas around the world, that they had knowledge on these type of stuff. So I was comfortable enough because I was with them for like 5 years. So when you have that connection, you're seeing somebody 6 days out of the week for almost 4 or 5 years straight. You're like brothers, or like an older brother. I felt so comfortable asking them questions. So like I said, like I don't think hifz is just straight memorizing. It's the whole journey. Like it really shapes your life and how your outlook of life. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say on it.
SubhanAllah, yeah. As you were doing hifz, you were also in school, right?
Correct, yeah.
And you were doing an alim program.
Yeah.
So how are you able to maintain that? What was your motivation? How, even now, like, do you find generally your motivation comes from a sense of responsibility, something that inspires you, running towards goals, or running away from something you fear?
Yeah, so I would say the motivation, at least during hifz, was that first off, my parents made a lot of sacrifices. That I can't just I can't just quit out now that my parents literally moved everything just for me to do hifz. The other one was just trying to get closer to Deen. Honestly, my inspiration to do hifz was obviously to memorize the Quran, and I felt like I had this innate ability. I think I forgot to mention this when we were talking about the beginning, but at my old masjid, I used to enter competitions, and memorizing surahs came to me like just like a snap of a finger. And I was like, you know what? Maybe like let me give this a try. Let me try it full time. And alhamdulillah, that's what kind of led me to. But I would say the main motivation for doing Adamiyya as well was because a lot of people don't have, and I'll say this maybe broadly, and actually personally for myself, is that doing hifz, I didn't know much about deen. I mean, sorry, before hifz, I didn't know much about deen. And I'm like, you know what? How am I supposed to raise a family? How am I supposed to live life if I don't even understand my deen? And I don't know the specific rulings. I think that's what really kept me motivated. And I guess today, like I've explained before, but what keeps me motivated to keep my hifz intact is also that sense. It is a sense of responsibility. Alhamdulillah, I think Zishan knows as well too. But I come for Isha Salah quite often, and if the imam's there, usually I'm the one who's next pushed in line. So I mean, if you don't keep your hifz intact, you're just gonna be up there reading the same surahs, or you'll be making mistakes, and it's a responsibility. It's an amana that the main imam trusts on you. That if he's not there, that you're there to be there to fill in the spot, or say if somebody else is leading, they're making mistakes, you need to be there to be able to correct them or continue on. Otherwise, the salah gets invalidated, right? And also just a sense of responsibility as well too. Like every Ramadan, there's different masajid looking for different imams to lead tarawih, right? You can say you're hafid, but like if you can't perform in tarawih or during Ramadan, what's the point calling yourself hafid? I'm just gonna be straight, because like calling yourself hafid means you've memorized it, you have it still, and it's intact. You can't call yourself hafid if you remember only half, or you remember a quarter of it and the rest is gone. So it's that responsibility. And then to get on a more deeper level, is that also, maybe this is a little bit too much for the podcast, but one of the punishments for forgetting the Quran after memorizing it is that on the Day of Judgment, the Hufad's heads will be smashed by 2 cinder blocks for the people who forgot their Quran. So I guess that's also another really big motivation, because I don't want to have that type of punishment on a day that matters the most.
Right.
And then sorry, just one last motivation is that also there's another hadith, or I think it's hadith Qudsi, that came from either, I take it back, I don't remember what type of hadith it was, but it was that on the Day of Judgment, Allah will ask the Hufad to recite, and where he stops is where he'll enter at Jannah. So and Allah will keep on saying, keep on reciting, and you'll ascend one level. You'll keep on ascending another level till you get to the top level. That's my goal, inshallah. Like, to be at the highest level, or keep reciting to a level where Allah is pleased with me. And inshallah, if in the hadith, it's also saying that you don't have to be completely memorizing the Quran. It could be people who are in the journey of memorizing the Quran. People who act upon the Quran can be called hafid as well too. So I think that's also a very big factor, that being hafid and having that opportunity, maybe having that opportunity, inshallah, on the Day of Judgment, where I get to read and then I get to ascend levels based on my memorization, is what really motivates me to keep it intact.
SubhanAllah, yeah. I guess shifting on to kind of going into, your schooling, and then leading into that interplay with work, and I guess the dunya part of life, and how that interplays with your deen and your mindset towards that. You have this balance. I go surfing with you, and you have that Farhaan, Hafiz Farhaan versus outside of the masjid. That joke that we always say. So how in your, I guess, rationale, or in your I don't want to say opinion, but I guess your psyche, your mindset. How do you balance those things? How do you make sure that your work is for the sake of Allah, and all your intentions are, I guess, as pure as it can be, good niyyah, and leading on to the rest of your life with all your other goals?
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, I think I've been blessed with the opportunity that I think a lot of people, what they see today is that people who stay on deen either go 100% to deen, or people who go on dunya are 100% dunya. I've never, it's rare to see somebody who's like 50-50 on it. Alhamdulillah, the opportunity I was given was that I got to do college, and I also got to do Adamiyya, hifz, and everything on. So I feel like I had that balance. And to be honest, I was never like raised in a family that was like super strict on deen. Like that would be like, okay, we're like gonna go to the masjid, we're gonna stay there for like itikaf and like, that was like super strict. Like we had that balance in my family. So I think that's what really helped me balance because like I said earlier, a lot of hufad or like different alims, either they're super invested in deen, they have nothing in dunya, or they super people are who are super invested in dunya, like hold high positions in companies, but will have nothing really to do with the deen. So what really helped me balance was like that the upbringing as well to my parents. That I got to do college along with hifz, so it kind of gave me the balance. Like I, it's funny because I'd do hifz in the morning and I'd do college in the evening. So I'd be in like a thobe and a jabba in the morning, and when I'm driving to school, I take it off, and then I take off the topi and I wear like obviously like jeans and pants and everything. It's like what you said. It's like when Superman changes his outfit, like takes off his glasses, and nobody recognizes him, right? Yeah, I think just having that experience, being able to experience both at the same time, not just specifically focusing on one, is what really helped me balance it. In terms of today, alhamdulillah, I think I am more on the dunya side. I do work, so I do work on I work as a business analyst, alhamdulillah, at Amgen.
First, bold of you to admit that. No, no. Continue.
Yeah, in my perspective, I would say I'm more on the dunya side than what I was when I was studying. Because a good chunk of my day would get more focused in deen, and the other chunk would be into chunk would be into dunya, and then a chunk would be into deen. Now I think it's like I have my weekends. Like I said, I teach on the weekends to keep my deen intact at least. But then throughout the week, it's more of like, I'm working, I'm tired after, or like I hit the gym, or we go surfing and stuff. So I think that's what just kind of, I have more of a balance in that. I'm not crazy strict. I'm like, okay, guys, we need to like sit down and like worship right now. Like, no, like this there should be a good balance. I don't think, and then it's also something that's mentioned by the Prophet that everything should be done in moderation, right? You can't be so crazy on one thing and completely forget the other thing. That's also what just keeps my mind in check. That like, if I'm doing too much here, I'll realize, okay, I'm not doing enough here. Or I'm doing too much there, I'm not doing enough there. So I guess that's what keeps me in balance. And I hope I answered the whole entire question.
No, yeah, you did. You did. Yeah, I mean, I think we can get into some pretty interesting topics here. Let me see the time. We have until, we got 15 minutes. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, like, has there ever been a point where, previously or now, where you question some of the dunya related stuff that you're doing? It's like do you think that this deen dunya thing for you is symbiotic, or has there been like a feud, I guess, between the two in your mind of wanting to do one thing and not being able to, or thinking that you're too much on one end at any point in your life?
No, I definitely think there's been a pull in different directions. I think one thing that maybe a lot of people could relate to who work in like corporate or who work in the workforce is like that interaction with the opposite gender. Like Islam also does not allow like, shaking hands, I guess, with the other gender. However, in the workforce, it's something that's commonly seen as respect. It's seen as something that's like, you should be automatically doing it, essentially. I think that's something I've kind of realized after graduating, and especially going to college, that there's a lot of things that don't go by the books. That things that like you'll have to take either a very conservative stance or you'll have to take a very liberal stance. I think, and it's just part of life at that point. I don't think you can be so conservative that like I said, you can't be so much into one side that you completely leave the other side. No, I'm not saying like I go like shake girls' hands and stuff, but like it's hard to say. I mean, it might be controversial to say, but it's hard to say. Like like I don't do that because of my religion. It feels awkward. Versus like in Deen, it's already given. Like you don't go and talk to them. Everything makes sense. Personally, myself, I revolve my whole entire life around like the Islamic type of perspective. I don't try to like put myself in the corporate perspective. Like I'll try my best not to do stuff that's wrong, but obviously we're all human at the end of the day. Like we'll fall into like a little bit of mistakes here and there, but overall, I would say that I fall my bars definitely at the Islamic thing. I won't go too much. I won't go actually into any like haram or anything like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, there's two directions we can go here.
Okay.
Let's go business first, and we'll save marriage for last.
Okay.
Okay. So, alhamdulillah, you started your own business. You and a couple other friends called Tauban, selling thopes.
Yes.
So, talk more about that, your motivation, and where you see yourself in the future.
Yeah. So the main motivation was that I just want to look nice. You know, when I'm leaving Tarawih, I mean,
okay.
what can you say? You want to look nice, you want to feel nice. And it's like when you feel good, you perform good as well too. I mean, what am I gonna say? But the real motivation was that like I would look out for really good clothing, and whenever I go to India, when I go to like Makkah or Medina, and I come back and people would be like, "Wow, like where are you getting this thobe from?" And I'd be like, "I can't be telling you all that because it's got gatekeeping it." But then I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Like, why can't everybody dress nice? And then, so like I told you, I used to live in OC, and there was this one store. I won't name the store because no free, no free credit.
No plugins, yeah.
No plugs, no free plugs. But and I moved to San Diego, and then I was like, guys, where are you getting your thobes from? Because I see like the similar thobes, and they're like, we drive all the way to Anaheim from San Diego, and given Anaheim is like about hour and a half drive from here, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like nobody sells thobes over here, and I was like, yo, this is like a really untapped market, you know. And alhamdulillah, the other people I started the company, Umar Kordi and Abshir, hey, shout out to them. They were on board with it as well too. They also dress nice, alhamdulillah, as well too. Mashallah. And they were on board with it. So Umar has connections in the Emirat world, the UAE. I have connections in India, and Abshir's been helping us with all the logistics.
He has no connections in Somalia.
We haven't found any vendors and our manufacturers in Somalia, but maybe that's untapped market we need to get into. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where it came from. That like I had this like, I don't know, you could say like or this akira to like dress nice.
Okay.
And I was like, you know, why don't I just bring it to everybody here? And I'm like, also it's an untapped market because there's nobody who's selling. Because when you go to the events, right, all these like MCC events, Fall Fest and everything, you'll see abayas. Everything's for women. There's no thobes to be found. And well, I've lived in NorCal, I lived in OC, I've lived here, I lived in Boston. That's different. I was born in Boston. You go to these events, it's all women clothing. I rarely see any men clothing. And subhanAllah, when I talk about it with other people, people are like, wow, like this is a great idea, and I don't see any men thobe. So alhamdulillah, the business has been going pretty good. I can't complain. Also, we're gonna have a drop pretty soon, so look out for that. Depending on when the video comes out, but it'll be out at some point. But alhamdulillah, yeah, I think that's where the motivation came. That there's no market here, and the market for women clothing is so saturated, and there's no like space. There's like no market that for men yet. So I was like, you know, why don't we try to bring it out for men? You know.
Okay. So, alhamdulillah, yeah. So what has been the most challenging part and the most rewarding part?
The most challenging part is, I will say this nicely, is that the Muslim community really, I'm gonna be honest with you, doesn't really support other Muslim small businesses. It's hard to be supported versus like you go to these other places like this non-Islamic places where like people are like, wow, let's go support these small businesses. It's hard to start a small business in the Muslim community that's specifically tailored to the Muslim community, because you'll have some person who's like, oh, I know you, can you give me a huge discount? I'm like, bhai, if you know me, you should be giving me a full price. You should be asking me to pay the full price rather than asking for discount. Like, support your brother rather than anything. I think that's probably been the hardest hurdle to get over. That the Muslim community, I don't know why this is the case, but I feel like they just don't support. So you'll have obviously your people who do it, but I would say a good amount of people don't support small Muslim businesses, or they'll try to look for extra discounts just because they know you. Rather than my mentality is that like we should be building up Muslim businesses. Like we should be boycotting certain people's goods, and we're not. And then you can see Salam Kola popped off really good because it supports Palestine and stuff, right?
Right, and all the coffee shops, Yemeni coffee shops that have been more popular because Starbucks is, not an option anymore.
Exactly. I've seen a lot of growth in that, and it just comes from the just wanting support from the community as well too. That we need to slowly develop that. I'd say the benefits that came out of it, it was meeting a lot of people. I would definitely say, before when I was in hifz, I used to be a crazy introvert. I don't know. I've told you this before in private that I didn't used to talk to nobody. I'd stay in my own corner. But like being a business owner and like selling thobes, you have to talk to people.
Right.
And subhanAllah, the people you talk to, they have crazy stories as well too, like things that you would never hear. Like for example, alhamdulillah, there was like one really good experience. Like we went to this one masjid and it was packed. We usually stay there for like 3 Jum'ahs. Over here it happens like 3 Jum'ahs. The first one was packed. Everybody was there, like at least 100, 115 people. After the Jum'ah everybody came out, not a single thing bought. SubhanAllah, we were like, oh my God, we were like, what are we doing here? Like, why were you even keep on staying? My friend's like, have trust in Allah. Let's just stay for the second one and see what happens. Second Jum'ah comes around and everybody's leaving. The biggest sale we've ever had and from all the masajid that we've popped up at. Just be from one guy who was like, you know what? I really like what you're doing here. Let me get like 5 thobes. It was crazy, subhanAllah. Like that was probably the most grateful, most like alhamdulillah moment. Like, when motivation was down and everything was down, we put our trust in Allah, we stuck to it, and then we were rewarded, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, that brings a great, like, I guess, mindset thing with being Muslim. I personally struggle with, and even what you were saying about dealing with the Muslim community. Yeah, it's almost as if like, well, to go on that point that you were talking about, that Muslims support, if a company is more adherent to like capitalism of having that corporate model with less respectable like moral qualities, it seems like more people, I'm generally speaking, but in the Muslim community, as we were talking about, respect their rules, their prices more than Muslims who have more, I guess, ikhlaq in their business, because they can be pushed around, right? And that's just really sad to see. Like I have a marketing business, and it's really hard for me to put my foot down and name my prices and everything. And if I hear pushback, I'm like, I just want the money. Like I'll take whatever price you say.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's definitely a struggle. So. What do you think needs to change in order for, that to change?
It's funny because me and Zishan joke about this, but we need a paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But honestly, in real like retrospective, I think we need a mindset shift. There's a lot of this thinking that
Do I hear it? No. Okay. Sorry.
yeah.
Continue.
No, you're good. There's a lot of thinking that like just like I always explained before, just because it's a Muslim business, you think you can get a deal. When you said exactly like when you go to like, for example, you go to Nike and they have a set price of like $96, you're like, wow, that's a deal. Like you're not gonna go and bargain with the cashier. You're like, yo, come on, I know you. Give me $70. It's like that's not what you do at Nike. Like, so why are you doing that with me? I mean, it might be harsh, but like at the end of the day, the Muslim dollar needs to turn over more. I feel like something that another religion did really, really well was that they support, if you know, they support themselves very well. Like they'll look for people specifically with their religion and they'll support them and they'll pay a higher price rather than going to somebody else who's of a different religion, different culture, who's doing it for cheaper. I think that mentality is what the Muslim community needs, that we need to build up ourselves for our own communities. We need to build up our own businesses and stuff. I think Salam Cola is like the biggest, greatest example of that. I mean, Salam Cola is a very successful business. They put their price at a set price, and people are more than willing to help because it's for a good cause. I think we should be implementing that same mentality for everything that's Muslim. Because, like I said, that one religion that everybody knows, um, they did a really good job. I'll be quite frank. They did a hell of a good job supporting themselves, and they all hold high power throughout the world. Whereas Muslims are almost like on the brink of fighting each other almost every day. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, you said it amazingly well, and subhanallah, like that was really great response. So thank you. We got 5 minutes left, and I really want to touch on this topic, so we'll make it quick, but I don't know if it'll do it justice. Marriage.
Oh, everybody's favorite topic.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you talked about many things that kind of connect to this. Starting a business, financial wealth, responsibility, when it comes to in the future starting a family, and then also following these guidelines of not, having a certain haya when, talking to women and keeping things as Islamic as possible. So how do you navigate in this modern world? How is, what is Farhaan thinking when it comes to wanting to get married and how to approach the difficulties?
So is Farhan supposed to be my other alter ego?
It's okay. So what is Farhaan, Hafiz Farhaan thinking then?
I would say I try to think about it. I mean, marriage is a big thing. I mean, it's not something you rush into. I mean, I would definitely say my younger mentality was I want to get married super early. And then as I slowly started maturing more and more, I'm like, you know what? Let me refine this a little bit. Let me mature up a little bit here. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I think age-wise, mentally-wise, I think I'm ready for marriage. I would definitely say time-wise, I'm not. I don't have any time for it right now to develop a relationship. And in this world right now, maybe I'm saying this very generally, that's it's very hard to find a good person that kind of matches what you want. At the end of the day, marriage is obviously about compromise, but it's about how much you compromise as well too, right? And I would say that maybe I just haven't found what I'm exactly looking for. I would definitely say that if I found what I'm looking for, I don't think there'd be anything stopping me. It's more of a thing that I haven't found exactly what I want. So here's my Instagram. No, I'm joking. Here's my number there too, but no, I'm joking. But I think it just goes to the point where at least the situations that I've been put in, I just haven't found exactly what I was looking for. Maybe something's lacking here, something I don't agree with heavily is here, or something I'm not willing to compromise is there as well too. Yeah, so I think that's probably where I stand on marriage, that I haven't found exactly what I want.
Do you find a common pattern of traits that women don't have today?
Yes. I don't know if I want to touch on those.
Okay.
Because it might be a little sensitive topic, but the main point is that they ask for a lot and they don't provide. The output of a person who's asking for a lot of input is not equal. I think that should be at least the standard. If you're going to be asking, I don't know if this is very...
Is it like that, what do you bring to the table? It's I am the table.
Exactly.
That mentality.
It's yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. I think it's probably time. But
it is 8:15 right now. Yeah, you can finish your thought and then we can...
Yeah, they think just being themselves there is enough. I don't think that's enough. It's not like I have to bring everything to the table. I have to meet all these requirements, and you can just be there and be like, I'm him. That's not what that's not how it works. That's not mentally does not check off any boxes for me.
Right.
You have to be developed yourself. You have to have a sense of what you want as well too, and not just be expecting the guy to take care of everything.
Right.
As simply as.
that is a somber note to end on. You know, I'd like to end on something more hopeful, but khalas, it's the end of our time. Inshallah, next time we'll touch more on that. He's going to be a recurring guest, inshallah.
Inshallah.
So, something I wanted to mention also is that he is Gujarati, like I am.
Yes.
His last name is Pathan, but he is a true hard good Jew, and he is my favorite good Jew. So Jazakallah khair. Thank
course,
you
man.
so much.
You
I really
bringing it.
appreciate it, of course.
You bringing me on here. It was very enjoyable. Our 30, 40 minutes together.
Yeah, I'm
and
glad.
I'm looking forward to be back again.
Inshallah. Our faces are cut off right now, but the hearts of the people are still ringing. So with that, Jazakallah khair. Salam.